What is up, guys? Welcome back to another walking on water tutorial here in my house, okay? I just got back from fishing the Clearwater River up here in Idaho for spring Chinook salmon, and we were doing that as a family, and we were utilizing the setup and method known as plunking, aka a style of fishing done from the bank. And I'm going to show you guys today how to set that up. But stay tuned till the end of the video because I have a couple cool announcements that I want to share with you guys, and I'm super excited about them, and I just can't wait to reveal a couple of these things to you. So stay tuned till the end, and let's get into the plunking setup and how I set it up and how I caught that fish in the previous video. If you haven't watched the video, go over and check it out. It was an amazing day on the water with my family. Like the video. If you learned something, you just enjoyed the content, share it out. Thank you guys. Let's learn how to plunk. All right, guys. So a quick breakdown of things that you're gonna need. I like to run a Maxima green 30-pound test for my leader, okay? The hook that I'm using is a size 4, and this is an octopus hook. I like the Big River Bait Gamakatsu hooks. Those are great hooks for plunking, as well as just the standard Siwash or octopus hook. And so let's get into the knot that I tie for plunking itself, okay? So this is a bait loop knot. If you want to learn I'm not going to tie it in the video for you guys here today, but if you want to learn how to tie up this knot, go over to my channel, Walking on Water. Take a look back for it was around Halloween. It was a video called How to Tie a Bait Loop Knot. Pretty simple, cut and dry. It shows you exactly how to tie this knot. It's super easy, and it's another tool that you want to add to your tool belt so you can go out on the water and be successful, okay? Just more things that you can add to your tool belt. Exiting out variables so you have a better chance at catching fish, okay guys? So let's get into the frickin' actual setup itself. So how I like to run my leaders, I usually pull out with my thumb and I put the end of the leader in the center of my chest, okay? And the measurement on this for me is about 34 inches, okay? I like to run about a 32-inch leader, and I use the XX 2 inches to tie my knot. And I do my knots for plunking a little bit different than some people may, because I like to interchange them. If something's not working, I like to change it out, put something else on, so on and so forth. Or I can have my setup rigged up, and then I can just throw it on, and I'll show you guys what I mean here in just a little bit. But let's put this thing together so you guys can see exactly how we were catching those spring Chinook plunking, okay? So the first thing I do is I take 2 6mm chartreuse beads, okay? And I just put them down the line. Why chartreuse, you ask? I love chartreuse for springer everything. I think that for some crazy reason, the bite attractant, or it triggers some instinct in the springer itself, and chartreuse is just the freaking go-to for absolutely any guide, anybody that's fishing that has been fishing a spot for a while. Chartreuse and pinks are gonna be normally your go-to. So 2 6mm beads above a bait loop knot and a size 4 hook, okay? I love Gamakatsu hooks. I love Mustad hooks. So these are the hooks that I like to use. Now, we got our 2 beads on. We're gonna grab a spin glow, okay? A spinning glow, a spin glow, a big corky with wings. This is what is absolutely crushing the springers, okay? Now, there's a bunch of different sizes, so you gotta understand better what size you're gonna wanna use to actually get out there and catch these fish, okay? This is a size 0 spin glow, okay? Up in out of Lewiston, we were in North 40, we were in Sportsman warehouse and stuff like that, and they were sold out completely of the size 0s. When we went back, came back home, recouped a little bit, we purchased some of the size 0 spinning glows, okay, by Yakima Baits, this one in particular, and we went up there and we absolutely freaking knocked them dead. We got hooked up 3 times total, well 4 times total if you count the trout or steelhead, but this is what ended up catching the big springer, and this is what we want to be using. You don't want to use a size 6 or a size 4. Now they could do it a little bit higher up in the river as you get into the smaller pieces of the river, like when it forks off, but the main body of these rivers are pretty big, and these size 0s are a perfect application to get you linked up with these freaking Chinooks. So you're gonna slide it on, small side first. Slide that baby on just like that, above our 2 beads, and our bait loop knot above our size 4 hook. Now, just down to the very last little piece that I like to do, I like to throw a bead up in front. Super simple, super easy, just like that. Then, okay, This is why I leave an extra 2 inches on the line so I can tie this knot in particular, and I'll show you why in just 1 second, okay? Simply just make a loop with that excess 2 inches, do 1 standard knot, okay? Pull it tight, and I like to leave, just like that, I like to leave about a 2-inch loop so I can fit that spin glow through this loop, and I'm gonna show you why. This loop right here versus using some kind of freaking swivel or interlock snap, I use this knot right here to go through my swivel so I can take it in and off super fast, and I'm gonna show you how I set that up right now. Okay, so the bread and butter for plunking right here is called a 3-way swivel, okay? The top, where my fingers are right now, is where the main line is going to be, okay? This side piece on the swivel right here, this side loop, is where our leader is going to be, and I will show you how we set up our weight in just 1 moment. Let's set up and show you how I utilize this knot and why it's so effective. Okay? You simply grab the loop of the knot, put it through the eye of the 3-way swivel, okay? Set it down. Then I put the loop over the hook, over the wings of the spin glow, and just simply pull it down, okay? Get your bead out of there, okay? Pull it down. Usually you clip your tag so you don't run into this, but pull it tight, okay? And there you have it. Let me clip that tag. Okay, tag clipped. Now, we have our 3-way swivel, and if you see this right here, okay, you have a perfect cinch right up against that swivel, and this thing is strong and durable, and it is gonna hold fish, okay? Every fish that I caught, we didn't lose the setups. Unfortunately, we lost some weights. We got snagged up in the rocks with the triangle weights, and that's how we lost a couple fish. But this knot is a killer, and it makes it so much more efficient when you're plunking on the water. And say the spin glow wing gets damaged really fast, you have more on your leaderboard that you tied up already, so you're ready to go, you're prepared. You just simply push the knot back through, just like that. Pull it all back through, and then unhook it just like we hooked it up, okay? So, this is how I do all of my plunking leaders, whether it's just an egg rig or it's a spin and glow, okay? Now, let's talk about for 1 second what we're gonna utilize on the end of our hook, why we have a bait loop, okay? Up high in the river systems, once these fish generally leave the Columbia River, and some places up high in the Columbia River also utilize this method too, but a lot of these fish, once they get close to their spawning ground, start biting on eggs, okay? Water temperature plays a part with that. Their instincts also come into play with that as well. They're getting close to their home where they're gonna spawn and die, and so they know that there's gonna be a plethora of eggs floating around, and so salmon start naturally hitting these eggs, and that's why we have a bait loop knot on this hook. So when we go ahead, put on our eggs, okay? Cinch it on tight, cinch it down, just like that, super easy. Or if you're plunking on the Columbia River and you're putting a coon shrimp on here, instead of half hitching the coon shrimp tail, you simply just slide out your bait knot, okay? Slip it over the tail, just like that, suck it down tight, and you're fishing, okay? I like to use a single hook method for these. If I was gonna plunk with a coon shrimp, I would use a little bit smaller hook, and I would also utilize a double mooching rig for the bottom hook with a bait loop knot on top. If you want to learn how to tie up that setup, go over to my channel, Walking on Water, how to tie up a non-slip mooching rig, and it'll show you exactly how to tie that up. Okay, guys? Let's get into the last piece of this puzzle so you guys can get out on the water and start plunking for these amazing spring Chinook salmon. Okay? We're gonna bite off a little piece like so. I like to run anywhere from an 8-inch up to a 12-inch bumper for my weight. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, again, you can just tie a loop knot in all of your things, just like this. This is such a versatile knot for these 3-way snap swivels, for these 3-way swivels, and it's just an amazing way to just be able to change something out super fast. If you don't want to retie every time and you have all your weights already pre-tied up before you get to the water, which is actually a good idea when you're plunking, especially if you know you're plunking in an area where there's a rocky bottom in the river, okay? That makes it just so much, excuse me, So much easier to do, okay? So again, just grab your loop, put it through, grab the string, and we're gonna suck it down tight just like that, okay? Super simple, super easy. Then we're gonna do the exact same thing on the top. Okay. All right, guys. Now that we've got our weight attached, as you can see, this is the plunking setup. Now this setup isn't only for Chinook salmon, it's also for steelhead. As you can see in the video prior, if you wanna go back and take a look at it, we did end up getting linked up with fish other than Chinook salmon, and steelhead will bite these all day long as well. Just make sure obviously they're in season, it's not a wild fish, excuse me, so on and so forth, and just make sure you're following your local regulations on the spots and rivers that you are fishing. Okay, so as you can see here, my fingers are the main line. I have my 8 to 12 inch bumper on the weight, just like so. The weights that you're gonna wanna use, in my opinion, are always gonna be triangle weights. They get stuck between rocks really easily. They hold your gear in place in fast currents, and the retrieval rate for these is really good because when you do get snagged up, which you do, and sometimes you can't get them back, but they do shimmy their way out a lot easier and they actually hold. So this weight is gonna go along the bottom, okay, like this, and it's gonna drag down the river. And this square top with this weight dragging is gonna get hooked up, and that's where you're gonna be sitting, just like this. So your weight's gonna actually be back this way, sitting flat, just like that, drug up against a rock, holding it in place, okay? Or the sandy bottom, holding it in place as your leader and your lure is up here in the back, spinning with your bait on it, okay? So my main line is my fingers. This is what the setup is gonna look like as a whole. Now that we've talked about setup for just a second, let's talk about what we're gonna look for a plunking spot, okay? If you're on the Columbia River, I've seen a million different methods. Obviously, if you have a kayak or a boat, you can drag them out as far as you want, and you're gonna wanna do that for a river like that because the river is just so big. You never know where these holes, these pockets, these ridges, these lips underneath the river are gonna be in the water system itself. So you don't know if it's 10 yards off the bank, you don't know if it's 100. But if you're in a river of that magnitude, you're gonna wanna go ahead and utilize something along the lines to get your gear out far enough to where fish are actually gonna pass by it. Unless the river's completely blown out, which usually the Columbia is not because they have all the dams regulating the water, okay? But if you're fishing on a smaller river system, okay, and the water's really high, you know your gear doesn't need to be very far from the bank. Okay, and what kind of water are we gonna look like? What kind of water are we gonna look for when we're looking for water to plunk, okay? So if you're fishing a river where you know that fish are traveling up through and it's not the size of the Columbia, you're just fishing a river, say you've never gone to the river, what you're gonna look for is a good bend in the river, okay? Once you find that bend, utilize the top of that bend and fish the slack water that's coming out of that bend. And that's a lot of the times after a fish travels a bend where there's current and rapids, it's gonna wanna veer off into a little bit of slack water so it's not getting pounded constantly by the force of the river and the flow of the river that's like coming down on the fish. It's a lot of work to move up those rivers. I've tried swimming up a river myself personally, and I'm not a fish, I get it, but man, it's a lot of freaking hard work. So you can only imagine those fish, once they round that corner and they come up through that bend, there's gonna be a very solid place for you to have your gear for when they wanna rest and get a little snack. Get a little snack on those eggs or some of those freaking coon shrimp, and next thing you know, wah, 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 fish on, and you guys are reeling in your first, if not your millionth, but amazing experience getting to go out there and catch a freaking spring Chinook, guys. So this is my thoughts and feelings on plunking. This is a walking on water tutorial on how I set up my gear for plunking for Chinook salmon or steelhead, but I want to talk about something else for just 1 second. If you guys are still here in this video, I appreciate it so much. And I just have some exciting stuff that I've been coming up with and that we've been working on behind the scenes here at Walking on Water, so we can bring it to you guys if you guys are interested in it and all. This is not a sales pitch by any means, but I'm super proud of myself and the people that I've been working with to get some of these things done. So I just wanted to share them with you guys. First of all, the Walking on Water leather patch hats. Okay, you can get these in absolutely any color, any style. This is a Richardson 112 hat with a leather patch on it and the Walking on Water logo stamped in the middle of it. Super freaking proud of this thing, super excited, and I'm just so grateful for the people that put this together for me. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you can get this hat with the patch in any different shape, any different size, and this is just the first of many to come, guys. So I hope you guys like this hat. It's super sick. If you happen to want one of these hats, they are currently for sale. Just email walkingonwaterfishing@gmail.com. Now, the second, which I've already made a video on, but we are putting out packs of hybrid micro hoochies, okay? These are hand tied by me, and these are colors that have proven to absolutely kill kokanee. I don't know if you can see this one right here, but it has a new copper mylar, which emulates an orange, but is not as bright as gold, with an ice pink and an ice orange skirt. And these things are absolutely going to blow kokanee away. So again, if you are interested in any of these, just email walkingonwaterfishing@gmail.com. Plus, guys, we have so much more in the works right now. I can't reveal it right now because I would be giving it all away. So we're just waiting a little bit until we dial in all the fine details. We've got gear, we've got scent lines coming out. We've got a lot of different things that are happening that we're working on that we want to get to you guys as soon as freaking possible. So smash the freaking like button, share these out to your friends or family if you learned something. And if you want to be notified when things are new on the channel and so on and so forth, subscribe to the channel, guys. It's free for you and it helps me out a ton. So thank you guys so freaking much. This was another Walking on Water tutorial. I will see you guys in the next one.